Coming up later in the hour, the D.C. sniper makes shocking claims that there were other people helping him. That's what eyewitnesses had said, white men in white vans. Big developments with BP. Coast Guard says they ignored their orders to stop using the deadly dispersant, Corexit. I've got a bunch of other military news. Here's a headline dealing with that. Mullen says U.S. has Iran strike plan ready just in case. That's AP. That is all coming up. But on the illegal alien situation, I'm going to talk more about that later. I mean, it's just so outrageous that the issue is they're getting free welfare, the country's collapsing, and many of them are nationalistic and say this is Mexico. It's a la invasora, la reconquista. I mean, I'm just not putting up with it anymore. I don't care what color you are, but if you don't want a free market, Bill of Rights, Constitution, and you don't like America, America isn't perfect, but I sure don't want this to be Mexico. Okay? And that's the big thing the media has been covering up. The mandatory service bill they've now have going through the House, and we're going to be covering that national slavery bill. But let's take a bunch of calls right now, give each caller about a minute and a half. Don, Mark, John, Noel, Jason, Randy, Tony, Chris, and others. Don in New Hampshire, you're on the air.
Hi, that's Donna in New Hampshire. I just wanted to thank you for putting out that information about all the MSG, aspartame, and all that. I mean, you really woke me up 10 years ago to this stuff. I also wanted to bring to your attention in the news this past week, they talked about chemical BPA found in cash register receipts.
Yes, that's Fox News and Associated Press, and just a small amount of exposure because the chemicalized type that's used in the ink is causing massive infertility in men just by accident.
That is correct. It was like Chevron, McDonald's, CVS, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Whole Foods, Safeway, the U.S. Postal Service.
They're hiding the drugs everywhere, and it's by design.
That is correct. And thanks to you, I have gone MSG-free in my house. I was getting terrible migraines from it. People don't realize how deadly this stuff really is. And
they knew in the 70s at Chinese food restaurants, people walk out and collapse.
That is correct. You have woken up my family. I have been able to take your video and go super viral with it and get it out to everybody I know, and even people that didn't really understand now understand because you helped us.
Well, Donna, God bless you. And you know, the video got 200,000 views on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, they took it off the front page to reduce the views. Just send it out that much more and let folks know. They even censored the term, food, the ultimate secret. That was the #1 search term, and they took it down and out of the search. So, again, they do not want people to see this. God bless you. Good to hear from you. Mark in Texas, you're on the air.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I apologize for the other day missing. We'll step forward here. Boy, that was a good microphone she just gave of the info you've been given, how it's helping her. Boy, I tell you, the people, I'm looking at what we're all trying to get together to help with, and I'm just open for your thoughts on all this stuff about getting out the word a little bit stronger.
Well, sir, none of us are going to fix the world by ourselves, but resistance is victory, and simply standing up, being bold, being confident with the information and warning people. I wouldn't be timid about it. You know, a lot of folks say, oh, just kind of saddle up to somebody and say, hey, here's a video. Tell me what you think. No, this is important. You need to watch this. You need to understand. I appreciate your call. You can go to prisonplanet.tv right now and download in one piece, 15 minutes long, Food, the Ultimate Secret Exposed, and burn it on DivX disc. I mean, it's just a point and click, and then give copies to people, you know, hard copies. And the government's openly talking about taking the web down or starting to censor it. We're going to have to get ready to do this person to person. But people are listening. That's the good news. All right, I'm going to rush through your calls on the other side of this 1-minute break as some stations join us. And then I'm going to get into the financial news, the Tea Party news, the D.C. sniper news, the BP news, the war news. It is all coming up. It is hour number 2, a ton of news. I want to get into this incredible William Shatner interview with one of the D.C. shooters, Malvo, saying other shooters were helping him. I would ignore that, but we had intel at the time that that was the case, and that was a patsy operation. And I have a U.S. government document where they talk about staging shootings in D.C. and Maryland and how to blame patsies. It's called Operation Northwoods. ABC News reported on it. That's coming up. Important info on the war front with Iran. Admiral Mullen saying they are moving towards a green lighting with war with Iran. It is all coming up. We've got Andy Griffith pushing the government takeover of health care so they can reduce the quality of your care. We'll discuss it all. But let's go to call after call right now, quickly, on this August 1st Sunday live transmission. John in Georgia, you're on the air.
Yes, Alex. I was just wondering, how come people seem to forget that this is not a racial issue with Mexico, it's the NAFTA issue?
Well, it's a nationalist issue, and what you're mentioning is all over the country, illegal aliens are pulling down American flags at schools and at post offices. They're telling kids at school, you can't wear that Old Navy shirt. I'm offended by the American flag in San Francisco. They're running out on baseball fields. This just happened Friday, screaming, Mexico, Mexico. I've been to these illegal alien rallies, and they're wearing La Reconquista shirts, meaning the reconquering of the U.S. Mexico's going down. You need to go home, pilgrim. They are the racist. And who I feel sorry for are great Hispanic Americans who are literally the bedrock of this country. Smart, hardworking, more Congressional Medal of Honor winners than any other group, Hispanic Americans, and also other people of Latin derivation who are not nationalistic against the U.S. I mean, it's Mexico. They lost 2 wars with us, and they're taught in Mexican schools that the Southwest belongs to them, and they are offended by the American flag and my Bill of Rights, and they pull the lever in the voting booth over 90% of the time to take my guns. And so, you know what? I'm against these illegal aliens that hate this country. And they hate this country 110%, and they can't hide those little Mexican flags at these government-sponsored rallies, and it makes me want to throw up. And I'm done being intimidated by this issue. I'm coming out against it, and so are the American people. But I feel sorry for Hispanic Americans when the media runs that hoax and says all Hispanics are for open borders, when every poll shows above 70% of Hispanics are against open borders because they're not stupid. They know Mexico's a hellhole. Why would these illegal aliens want to come up here and then run around with Mexican flags wanting to turn this into Mexico? Even if this was Mexico at one time, what is so good about it? Why are they fleeing Mexico? I mean, they need to make Mexico more like the United States, not more like Mexico. I mean, let me tell you something. If these illegal aliens weren't on welfare and didn't have the government using them as a political voting bloc for globalism, then I wouldn't have a problem if they were a bunch of gun-toting, anti-New World Order people. But we can't afford it because of the welfare. We're going bankrupt. 95% of the, and this is a number you can pull up, 95% of the felony murder warrants in L.A. County are for illegal aliens. This place is wide open. They come up here and do whatever they want. Then they intimidate us. They use the goodwill of the American people to tell us to sit there and take it while they run around with Mexican flags chanting down with this country. I've had it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
I understand. I feel it too, Alex. And I just hope Governor Jan Brewer, maybe she could just bring up the whole history of NAFTA, all the way back to where Ross Perot was talking about.
I hear you, John. I hear you, John. Listen, about 7 years ago, I was at the Capitol at an illegal alien rally because the illegal aliens had called me up at my office and said, you better not come down there. So I went down there. It was on the news. And a UT professor came over who was Hispanic, and then another white guy came over who knew what it said, but was a Hispanic guy, told me first. He said, Alex, you know what that green and yellow shirt means? And I said, no, I don't speak Spanish very well. And he said, well, the plan of San Diego is a plan to kill all white people. And I didn't believe it, and I went home and searched it, and I was at the University of Texas site. And then one of the Texas civil rights publications wrote a story about me saying, well, it's true, the plan is to kill all whites, but, Hispanics are downtrodden. Maybe it's good to kill all the gringos. I'm done. I'm done. I'm white. My kids are white. Get used to it. Okay? I don't dislike you for what color you are. I care about, in fact, will you pull up Morgan Freeman from 60 Minutes? I meant to play this last week. Let's try to pull that up if we can. I'm with Morgan Freeman. He says, I don't want Black History Month. American history is Black history. I'm an American. I believe in what John Wayne said. I wouldn't care if the whole Congress was like Morgan Freeman and they were pro-gun. I wouldn't care if the whole Congress was Hispanic or black or purple or green or polka-dotted if you'd leave my private property alone and stop trying to run my life. Did we find the Morgan Freeman? Here's Morgan Freeman telling it like it is. But you want to run around saying you want my guns, you want my property, you want me to fly a stinking Mexican flag? Mexico's one of the worst countries in the world. It's in the top 5 cesspits. They got the richest, though. They got the most billionaires. Carlos Slim buying the biggest building in New York for himself privately. He's got a whole skyscraper just for himself, sucking off the Mexican people. They need to go down there and fix their country, not come up here and turn it into Mexico. Let's go ahead and play it.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, devastatingly accurate. Multiculturalism is all about getting everybody at each other's throats. Diversity, when you hear it, is about the government poverty pimps, and they have handbooks on this. Margaret Sanger, 80 years ago, wrote books. We sent off to universities and got her letters to some of the wealthiest families, including the Rockefellers, and she said, I figured out how to kill these black weeds and these brown weeds. I figured out how we're going to get them. I've got it in my film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. She said, we're going to hire blacks, and we're going to have a liberal movement, and we're going to socialize things. We're going to give them welfare, and we're going to break up their families. We're going to pay the women not to have men in the home so that the state and the health department, which was set up by eugenicists, it's racial hygiene. The U.S. invented it with England. Hitler picked up on it. And we're going to kill these people. But we got to pose as liberals. You know, I'm against aborting Hispanic babies. See, I want there to be more brown people, more white people, more black people, more whatever people. I care about the content of your brain, your soul, what you stand for. But if you've got 30 million illegal aliens working for the New World Order, pushing globalization in the North American Union, and you want my guns and my private property, brother, you got an enemy in Alex Jones right now. 51% of black people since 1973 are never born in this country. 51%. And all the liberal NAACPs help promote the abortuaries in your town. They help promote the Planned Parenthood, and they sit there and get you all obsessed on some little, some little racial issue or some little problem and act like they're your friends all day long. Hey, Mecha and La Raza, which means the race, La Raza, funded by the Fortune 500 big time. You ever hear one of those leaders get up and say they've got abortuaries in all the Hispanic areas? No. No. They're just going to use the illegal aliens to drive down the wages, help break down the country, and lower everybody's wages down, and then get you trusted them so they can murder your children. Oh, you'll go in and go along with it because it's a liberal, cute right you've got. And then that stupid, evil, white gringo Alex, you'll beat him. You'll get his property. You'll get his guns. But don't worry, those little Mexican babies are going to die. Stop killing your white babies. Stop killing your black babies. Stop killing your precious little Hispanic babies. They're all God's children. And stop taking over baseball games, running around with Mexican flags, screaming, Mexico, Mexico. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. Stop going to post offices and jerking down the American flag. The American flag isn't perfect. But you know what? It's better than anything else we got. And I'm for the Bill of Rights and Constitution. I'm going to defend this republic.